Good morning, streaming fans and Gumbo Nation. Got a good show planned for you today, so glad to have you with us. Beautiful day here in South Louisiana.
One minute.
All right.
How we doing on time?
Good. I got us live on a stream. What's up? What's up? What's up, Gumbo Nation?
Hey, everybody.
Got Jeremy Porcine in for the Corbier. So privilege and an honor to have a iHeart executive taking his time out with us today.
Who's the iHeart executive?
What's cooking, Gumbo Nation? You're listening to Mortgage Gumbo with Dwayne Stein right here on iHeartRadio. And I'm your host, Dwayne Stein, the Gulf South Mortgage Authority. This is your home show. 8+ years of providing education and options on your most valuable asset, your home. If you're new to the show, welcome. Thank whoever sent you over. We do. We appreciate that. And if you've been with us for like our 10,000th show, welcome back as well. Got a lot going on. If you want to join the show, 504-260-0995, or you can shoot an email to info@mortgagegumbo.com. That's info@mortgagegumbo.com. On the show today, hey, we're going to talk about FHA. We briefly touched on it on our podcast, the Hump Day Holiday this past week. FHA put in some new rules. We're going to talk about why that is a good thing, the changes there. And then with everything going on, and we're going to talk a little bit about more about what really is going on in these waters that we've been telling you we're guiding you through, and they're a little choppy, right? What are your loan options, right? So we really break down, there's only a couple loan types, but then we get into the minutia of what all those options are within those loan types. So you could kind of get an idea of, oh, okay, right? Like if you're not a veteran, can't get a VA loan, right? What are some of the income qualifications on some of the other loans? And how do I sort of determine which the best way to go for you, right? And those are the things. So we'll discuss that and plenty more today on the show. I want to welcome in James Parker. James, welcome in.
Thank you. Oh, good to be here.
Yeah.
Good crowd.
The fans always love having you on. Hey, I know you've had a busy morning, right? So the hot redhead, is this something new, or has she kind of been training, or is this like one of those school deals and let's sign up?
No one knows what you're talking about. She ran a 5K this morning.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So
I don't think she's ever run a 5K before. I think we did like one of those cancer walk.
Yeah.
In like City Park for pancreatic cancer, the purple shirts or whatever.
Yep.
I remember like her alumni group was putting that on, and I had to MC it, and that's the only time I've seen her participate in anything like a race.
Yep.
And she just walked that one. But this is the first time she ran a 5K. She swears that she didn't stop and walk for any of it this time. Because I know when we were training around the neighborhood, I used to scold her. Why are you walking? Because I'm tired. It's like, well, that's when you push yourself, baby. I don't want to hear it. This is why I don't like you running with me. So after a few months of that, this is the payoff. So it's good morning.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Hey, Timothy, I see you posting there. Hey, if, you go check out James on your own time, man. So,
Yeah.
so with that being said, hey, we've had a lot going on. Listen, in the industry, a lot of good things. Baseball. Hey, when we get out of here today, we'll be heading over to Lakeshore. We've got a doubleheader today against Holy Cross and Hahnville coming to visit. So baseball's in full swing. We had a great week last weekend, went 3-1. This weekend, been a little challenge so far. Every loss we've got this year so far has been by 1 run. So we've been in every game. Took a tough loss on Thursday. Good Pope John Paul team did very well. And then last night lost to a perennial state champion, always contending, Dutchtown in extra innings. So tough loss there, but no doubt Coach Boomer will have the boys ready to go. Thanks everybody for asking about Gavin. His foot's fine. A lot of rehab, man. The kid worked his tail off. I tell you that. Icing it every couple hours. We went in Sunday morning to find out. Luckily, no fracture, no break. So did the walking boot thing for a couple of days. So still sore, but he's playing on it. It's crazy how you can tape up a foot and it could feel better. The arch of a foot, James.
Right.
So kudos to Sadie and Emily, the trainers over at Lakeshore, doing a great job there. So he's able to get out there and play. Also, look, go check it out. Shameless plug here. Me and Lance Scott and Lakeshore Titans baseball. Go to YouTube and follow us there. We're streaming all the home games there. So excited about that. Lakeshore Titans baseball. It's just it's good local baseball. And I've made this very vocal. We don't have lights at Lakeshore, right? So parents work, parents are doing things. So we're just trying to provide something for people to be able to watch some good quality baseball, and even visitors. Hey, if you've got Lakeshore on a schedule and you're coming to Lakeshore, hey, share that, right? We had tons of people from Pope John Paul that were able to watch and who were thankful for that. So that's what it's all about, right? In today's environment, we know people work, and especially, hey, when you're playing over at Lakeshore and the 3:30 starts and different things like that. And even today on a Saturday, we play at 11 and then at 3. Maybe people have some different things going on. So, we're able to get folks to check it out and hang out with us there. So that's really cool. But been busy, James, this week. Florida Lee, our Total Home Authority member, Florida Lee Law and Title, who was in studio last week and was just, there's such a great plethora of knowledge and just all the information they give, not just with the title, but on the civil side too, man. Whether it's business, I'm setting up a business, knowing how to get that done and make sure that you're getting it done correctly, right? That's the name of the game there. Protecting yourself, estate planning, life planning, all those type of things they have. But they also hosted this week was Realtor Retreat, which was fantastic. They had over 150 agents there, Dawn Castasu and Jeff Leschere and their team, and was fortunate enough to be able to hang out, go speak to the audience there, and just really, how are you going to thrive? Dawn does a great job of really just motivating folks and helping them understand, how to sort of charter, kind of like we do, James, with this show. How do we charter through? These obstacles that are in front of us, right? So those are the things that we want to make sure when we're looking at that, she's doing that, talking to all these realtors. So just a great event. Was so glad to be part of that. So kudos to Florida Lee, Law and Title, and Jeff and Dawn. Just a fantastic job there. So James, look, as we continue to, and I know we've got a jam-packed show, we've got a lot of stuff we're going to talk about. We continue to manage these waters, right? And have to shift our sails, so to speak. Look, it's no secret. We told you rates are going to recede this year. We got a nice little look at that in the beginning of February. And then it's almost like the market pulled the old okey doke, right? Remember Muhammad Ali with the head bobbing and the moving and the shaking? It's almost like the housing industry is experiencing a little bit of an okey doke over the last couple weeks, and we've seen rates go up, and we'll cover rates more in Rate Watch, but we've seen rates are having a huge impact right now, going in the opposite direction, right? Going in the opposite direction. I have a newsletter, The Rue, that you can get. The Rue News, it's free. Go to mortgagegumbo.com, click on The Rue. 14,000 folks are checking that out. Had so many people say nicely written, because I kind of put things in my perspective like we do here in the show. And you remember the show Welcome Back? Almost wanted to have that themed up, kind of that theme music. Welcome back, welcome back. Remember that show? And a lot of our audience, I know, are of an age that will know that show, because we're almost welcoming back 7% interest rates. And, that's something that we kind of kissed them goodbye right here on this show a couple weeks ago. And now we've got this market data. And as much as I could sit here and vent out of frustration and go, how are all these things happening? Look, I think it's Amazon. Amazon just stopped their second corporate headquarters that they were supposed to be putting in out in DC, that they were building. They just put the kibosh on that, right? So that's a huge thing when you've got one of the top employers in our whole country that is stopping the production of their East Coast headquarters, right? Yet we see these massive layoffs. We read about them every day, yet unemployment's still at all-time lows. So what do we talk about all the time here, James, is trust the data. But when the data is being, I don't want to say manipulated, but muddied by certain people or certain, just reports, it makes things hard. It makes things hard, especially in our market right now. So that's that when we're those are the things that we're seeing this week, right? And that's why we're looking at rates have kind of shifted in a direction we don't like, right? So what happens? You talked about it on Wednesday. 28-year lows on what? Applications and all that kind of stuff. Look, it had slowed down regardless. And that's why we keep talking about what's the opportunity out there. But these are the things that this is going to be par for the course in all of 2023. So that's why you've got to be ready to strike and get your wins when they're there, James.
Well, we're actually seeing a little bit of movement in the South. When they talk about how inventory is a problem and how people are calcified in their homes and the real estate market is, frozen and shook and mortgage demand is at some 28-year low or whatever. It is so much different when you read what's going on in California and the Northeast and Chicago and Detroit and Cleveland versus what's going on anywhere down here in the sunshine part of the country. And I don't just mean the South. I mean like Arizona as well. And, some of the out west states like Idaho's booming. So it really is local. All real estate is local. But in this one, if you're being scared out of it because you're hearing bad news, you're being tainted by bad news that is seeping in from a situation that we're not even a part of. I still see a lot of for sale signs being put down and picked up real quick in Lakeview.
Yep.
I know this is anecdotal, but I still have a lot of friends and colleagues and coworkers and people I know and people I used to know and people on Facebook I went to high school and college with. And they're making moves. I have friends that are moving into new houses right now. I have a friend that's building a house right now. I have a friend that's remodeling a house right now. My parents are thinking about building a house right now. And so it really is like, just think about how different things can be with just inside New Orleans. You can be in one neighborhood, you can be in Audubon Place, or you can be in Lakeview, and it's hopping and it's happening and the prices are going up and the signs are only staying in the ground for 2 weeks. And then you can go to a neighborhood that's not as popping as, Audubon or Lakeview. And you can see prices are challenged, and trying to buy and sell in that arena isn't going to be as fluid or quick. And so if it's that different based on just where you're at in the city, national data, I don't want to say it's worthless, but it doesn't help as much as listening to like a Dwayne, listening to your neighbor or listening to what's going on in New Orleans. But I don't even want to say New Orleans. I want to say your specific neighborhood, because the issues that they're having in Lakeview, they're not having in Covington. And the
It's
issues
outside the window, right? We kind of joked about this a couple months ago when we said real estate is open up your blinds or your shades and look outside your window, and that is your market, right? I mean, it literally comes down to that, right? On the North Shore, hey, there's where it's subdivisions. New Orleans, it's pocketed into certain areas. So, but you bring up a good point that I want to talk about since we're up against a break, that I'd be interested to hear about, like, what some of the thoughts are. You said friends and what they've got going on, and even your parents. I'm interested to hear what their thought process is, because that's who our listeners, they're trying to figure out the same exact thing. So on the other side of the break, hey, we'll talk about that. FHA, the new rules, and how it's a win for you, how it just got more affordable for you to buy a home. And then also, hey, what kind of loan types are out there? We'll touch on that as well. You're listening to Mortgage Gumbo with Dwayne Stein right here on iHeartRadio, 504-260-0995. All right, let me try to.
That's so funny. I made that bumper. I took the instrumental parts of Goldfinger's cover of 99 Luff balloons, red balloons.
Yeah.
And, just took out all the parts with words in it and stuck it in the computer. And I must have done that 12 years ago. And Jeremy just played it. Like, I know that's mine because no one else went and scrubbed out all the lyrics and choruses of.
Still sitting in here. That's what happened. Put an end date of 2099 on it.
So it won't last forever. That's funny.
No offense, but if I'm still here when it expires.
Yeah. Yeah. You're either doing something right or way wrong.
Well, you'd be 120.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
Just a heads up, y'all are pegging a little bit, so you might just want to take the output down just a smidge.
That's you going to the brick, Dwayne.
Right.
Well, Parker, you did a little bit too. Like when you hit like a high note, but it was a little more consistent with Dwayne. Not all the time, but you're just pegging just a little bit.
All right. So which one I gotta adjust?
Are you sending aux 1 to the brick? Whichever one you're sending to the brick. Are you sending a main mix or an aux? I think you're sending mix minus.
So lower my overall volumes, what you're saying?
Yeah, a little bit.
All right.
And that should fix us both.
All right.
Just a little bit, not a lot.
Okay.
I had you at about -10 on the board on my end.
All right.
That low. I'm just saying, like, give me a little bit less.
Okay.
And I'll keep listening to
All
it.
right. Okay.
But if you just might knock it down 1 or 2
Yep.
on your end, you should be. You got about 40 seconds to this breaking.
Welcome back. You're listening to Mortgage Gumbo with Dwayne Steiner right here on iHeartRadio. Hey, if you want to join the show, 504-260-0995, or you can shoot an email to info@mortgagegumbo.com. If you're new to the Gumbo Nation, welcome. You stumbled upon 8+ years of providing education options on your most valuable asset, your home. Glad to have you. Joining me in studio, as always, James Parker. And James, we're kind of talking about what we're seeing with the market, and still to come on the show in a second, we're going to talk a little bit about the new FHA rules and really what are some of the loan types out there, right? All this stuff, I get it. We're talking numbers, we're talking about, and if you're just looking at headlines, and in reality, look, quite frankly, they are scary. They are scary because at the end of the day, nobody cares about historically the rates are still in good shape, right? It's what have you it is it we are now in a what have you done for me industry or a world, and I get it. So we're going to talk about that because when people call me, and that's why they love working with me, I don't hide from it. Hey, what are your rates? High, right? I mean, it's what does it look like?
Same as everyone else,
I mean, it's ugly, but I've yet to meet anybody who really since last June, James, is getting a loan right now that's saying, I can't wait to pay this for the next 30 years. So what is that cost of waiting, right? What is that when you look at it? What are you really doing there? And we've got a lot of people right now that are winning because they are getting in the game. They're not worried about that number on a piece of paper. Naturally, yes. Let's look at the behind the scenes part, right? If we kind of pull the sheets back, is it harder or is it more expensive to qualify for that same house today at 300,000 than it was last year at this time? Yes. Yes, it is. Can you still qualify for that $300,000 house? I don't know. That's why you go to snapsendandsave.com and we look at it and we put you in a program because what we're doing right now is temporary. It's temporary. And that was one of the things when we were in front of these 150 agents we talked about. And you could kind of see that aha moment of understanding that everything that's being done right now, it's temporary. Buying a house is not some short-term investment. If so, you're one of those fix and flippers or you like watching DIY and all that stuff. And I'm not sure what we're talking about matters anyway, because you're part of that 30% of folks who are out there using cash only, right? And so be it. Good for you. There's a market for that. So you're not the person that we're talking to right now. That person that like said, well, I use cash for everything. Hey, good for you, right? Good for you. Everybody can't, right? And so those are the things that we've got to look at and knowing how to put those options together. So James, you were sort of mentioning some friends, kind of. I mean, I'm interested to hear because anytime you've got something going on, that's a lot of what we're dealing with, right? So kind of talk about what they've got going on so I can kind of hear what their thought process is as well as my audience.
All right, so let's start with my parents. 2 years ago, my childhood home burned down, and it's a tragedy. Whatever, that was 2 years ago. I'm over it. But it's on a 30-acre farm, and they have horses in a barn and all kinds of. They have a great little setup there, and that's what they are. They're horse people. They love that stuff.
Yeah.
And so when your house burns down, it gives you an opportunity to where, you know what, if we've kind of been wanting to relocate and this is sort of pushing our hand, this will be great because I had moved to New Orleans long ago. And my sister is 2 towns away. She got a job working at the elementary school, and it's not far. It's about the distance from Slidell to Hammond, and it's the same setup too. It's sort of these semi-rural, not big city towns, but not too far from a big city town. And so, instead of driving 40 minutes every time they want to see this, my sister and, her kids, they decided to move over here to the small town where my sister is. Now, they didn't find a 30-acre ranch or whatever immediately. So they just left the horses at the old place. And, the barn's fine. But they got a nice little house in a subdivision. Now, my parents are country people, never lived in a subdivision before. This is something totally new to them. They are not city people. And so
your dad likes to squirt the dirt in the morning, so to speak, right? Likes to go outside and, he's got his little dead grass patch.
Dude, toilets are only for number 2.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So they were looking for the right little parcel of land so they could move the horses over to the new bug tussle. And turns out they have another plot of land now, but they've been living in this house in a subdivision for about a year and they kind of like it. Okay. They thought they would hate it. They thought, my neighbors are so close. I can hear everything they're doing in their backyard. Can't pee in my own backyard. I can't let the dogs run free. They're all can't bring my horses in. They like it. They like it. They like having a small yard. They don't like all that upkeep. They don't like having to drive a quarter mile just to get up the driveway. They like being in a town to where you don't have to have a 40-minute round trip to get a gallon of milk. Because that's where I grew up. I grew up just sticks,
Right.
like sun, like outside of Bogalusa.
Yeah.
And so now they're in a conundrum. There's the piece of land they have is like maybe 2 miles from where they live, and it's 10 acres, plenty for the horses. And they don't know whether or not that they should just stay in this nice little new house in the subdivision or do a new build. From the point of view of a mortgage guy, what's your input on that? Because they got to go out and get another loan and do a house build, and it's kind of a pain in the butt. And financially speaking, how much of a pain in the butt will it be?
So here's what I would tell you, James, and this is what the conversations I have every day. All my job is to do is if they decide that it's something that mom and dad Parker want, my job's to present them with options. They're in a good situation. They like where they're at is a lot different than hating where they're at, right? So now it's for them to go, all right, what do we want to do here, right? So is right now the optimal time to be building? Probably not. So if they don't have to or don't need to and can afford to wait it out and they don't have to wake up every morning and they don't mind going get the grain, getting in their car to go get the grain and not just walk outside and hop on an ATV and go do what needs to be done, hey, then work through it. If it's something where, you know what, we just need this and it doesn't sound like it's that, it'll be a nice option to get back there, then they probably just want to look at, hey, from a financial standpoint, we like it here, we're okay, and sort of weigh out what those options are. Are they the type who are they going to then want to keep that house in the subdivision as a rental property to be mailbox money down the road, or are they going to sell it, get their money back, so to speak, right? Because we know they lost everything in a fire, the insurance, and all, recoup that money and put it back into the farm, right? Or into the new build. So those are just things I think that's the difference of when you work with myself, who's more of a fiduciary than a guy who's just trying to sell you a loan. It's all about what are your needs? What are your wants? And those are the conversations that my team and I have with the client, because I think that's what's important, right? I mean, so is there a win? Is there an opportunity? If they know it's their forever house, they get rocking and rolling on it, because we don't know what the future holds, right? So if they know that, hey, this is going to be our forever home that we build, then maybe let's look at that option, see what it is, see if it makes sense to them, and then review it and look at going at it from there.
I recall a previous episode of Mortgage Gumbo where you mentioned some sort of program. I don't know if it was a temporary program or it's something you do all the time, to where you get a construction loan and then it rolls into a mortgage, and so you don't have to
close. Yeah, one-time close.
So you don't have to go through that paperwork again?
Yeah, no, the one-time close, basically, no, correct. So what happens is they call me, they already own the land. We give them credit for that land. That's the beauty of what our construction and why right now people are doing them. Because number one, a few things. You can roll in any land that you own, we give you credit for that. So instead of coming up with down payment, let's say you own that land, you've owned it forever, it was family land, we give you credit for that.
Well, you say credit.
Like your down payment, right? So let's say that land's worth $100,000, right? Well, we put that in, we give you credit for that towards your bill.
Why are you saying credit and not collateral?
Because in other words, it's going to be, if you got a $300,000 loan, that $100,000, we're going to give you credit for that, whatever that value is, towards your loan, and it acts as a down payment, right? So now you only borrowing $200,000 on your build, right? So there's a lot more that goes in. But the other thing that's great about our construction loan too is we guarantee it. So the builder is guaranteed to get paid. The other thing is too is it comes with a one-time float down. So let's say they lock in right now. Well, we know rates are a little elevated. Our construction loan gives you the peace of mind that during the build, if rates get better, you get that lower rate, right? Before the final build is done. So there's a lot of different options out there that we can review. And again, look, if you're thinking about building, we're more than happy. Builders, if you're out there, it's silly for you right now to be using your money, because we guarantee you the loan. We guarantee it. And there, you know, so we've got a lot of investors, a lot of builders who are contacting us now going, you know, if I use your loan instead of me using my line of credit to go build this house, and I send my buyer to you to do this loan, they can then, instead of using their money on supply chain issues, they're using my money. But guess what that builder's able to now do, James? That builder's now able to go out and buy more dirt. So then they could build more houses down the road. So that's a good stuff there. Hey, we're up against a break. On the other side, what are the rules with FHA? We're going to tell you about that and why that's a win for you right now in the market. And it gives you just a little bit of relief, right? You've been treading water. We're going to give you a stool to stand on, so to speak, underwater right now. That way you can keep your head above and take a little break on that. So we're going to tell you what those new rules are and how you can take advantage of it. You're listening to Mortgage Gumbo with Dwayne Stein right here on iHeartRadio, 504-260-0995. Jeremy, was that a little better, brother?
Yes.
All right, good.
Just like at the end when you were like mortgage gumbo, like
Yeah.
that was like one of the few times where,
Okay. All right.
honestly, if you just kind of pull your mouth away from the mic a little bit, you should avoid altogether.
I think he's got a lapel mic, and I think he's just blowing it out every once in a while,
Oh, okay. That's
like
probably why
rattling the diaphragm.
that's why I can hear the difference between the two, is because it's
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
I had a thought and I lost it. Oh, just remind me, podcast. Do I still send that to somebody, or is that
No, you're good there.
Okay. All I gotta do is make sure my segments are in for your week?
Yep. Make sure they're in and then just upload them to the iHeart site, brother. You're good.
Well, I mean, but I do upload a podcast to iHeart.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Yep.
But I don't have to send it to anybody.
Nope.
No. Okay. Got it.
All right, Parker, we'll knock out Rate Watch when we get back, and then we'll do the FHA stuff. And then if we got any questions, we'll get those answered. And if we don't get to the loan types, we'll do it next week. That's the beauty. Hey, what was pretty cool too, I thought, was when we had Florida Lee Law and Title on last week. They were talking about how St. Tammany has passed now. You know, you see these commercials about title lock and stuff like that. Well, now you can sign up and they alert you if anybody tries to do anything. Well, man, the assessor listens to the show. So we're going to have the assessor on. We're going to get our schedules together, and they're going to break it down even further. So it'll be able to come right from the expert and the person that put this in place, which I think is amazing. It really is. So that's
cool. I heard you talking about that last week.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, because you see all these commercials, right? And I mean, it's kind of out of control. And when I was talking to them yesterday, they were talking about how they just caught somebody who was trying to do something that's, how do we say, just not nice, right? So it's going to be pretty cool. And it's, you know, look, it's something people don't think about, but these commercials that come on 10:30 at night, it's enough to get somebody to sign up, pay a couple $100 for something that really they don't need to do.
I hear you. How much time we got, Jeremy?
Minute 17.
The bottom line of the shirt, amazing in bed. Get your minds out the gutter. It says amazing in bed. I can sleep for hours. See, get your minds out of the gutter.
That's what I thought it said.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. Lakeshore Titans baseball. Appreciate you asking about where the stream is there. Lakeshore Titans baseball. The Titans baseball network is what we're calling it. Lance is a fellow mortgage guy too, James. So we're like, you know what? Hey, in the meantime, we'll go sell streaming in a box, right? To all the high schools. Let's show you how you could get this stream set up and be able to watch your local team.
10 seconds.
Yeah, we could be like consultants.
Yeah. Welcome back. You're listening to Mortgage Gumbo with Dwayne Stein right here on iHeartRadio, 504-260-0995. Or you could shoot an email to info@mortgagegumbo.com and we can answer your questions, or you could shoot them over on the stream. Yes, I'll answer your questions. I even had to answer the question during the break is, what does your shirt say? It says amazing in bed, and then in very fine print, I can sleep for hours. So, yeah. I mean, that's what we do. Let's get into our weekly segment we like to call Rate Watch. Rate Watch is brought to you by Tito's Handmade Vodka. It's America's first handcrafted vodka, and it's absolutely delicious. So thanks to our friends over at Tito's. Parents, if you're driving right now and your kids are in the car, maybe you're going to that soccer, maybe you want to cover their ears. I don't know if you want to burn their ears with these numbers we're about to give out here. So let's get into it. 30-year, James, 30-year conventional, 6.97. Hey, that beats 7.01, right? 6.97 on a 30-year conventional. 15-year, 6.43. FHA, 6.39. Jumbo, 6.45. VA, 6.45, and 5-1 arm, 6.59. I had somebody yesterday go, well, hey, what about a 5-1 arm? 5-1 arms are higher right now than your conventional loans. So just to give you an idea, and we talk about this when we say, hey, there's lows and there's highs. Folks, this is why, keep in mind, everything that you're doing right now, again, is temporary. We know we want to, it was easy to come on every day and say, 30-year conventional, 3.06, right? It was easy, but this is why you hire professionals. This is why when you're working with your lenders, make sure they know how to navigate you through these waters. What loan types are available? What can you take advantage of right now? That's what's important. I know that number on a piece of paper, it's almost like the lipstick on a pig, so to speak. But how do we win in this market right now? And that kind of leads me to the new FHA rules, James. And, you know, I think what they rolled out the end of last week, and this takes effect on March 20th. However, at Mortgage Gumbo, we're already giving our clients, they can get this early, so to speak.
Well, catch everybody up. What's FHA, Federal Housing Administration?
FHA is a loan. It's under the government. It's a loan program, and it's called an FHA loan, but it just means that it's insured by the federal government, right? So when you do an FHA loan, you have what's called upfront mortgage insurance. Okay, they charge you kind of like VA has a funding fee, different things like that. FHA charges you 1.75 on top. So if you get a $100,000 loan, you're really financing $101,750. Okay, that's how that works, right? So that's a upfront mortgage insurance. That has not changed. There's talks that may change, and if it does, we'll let you know. In reality, that adjusts your payment pennies, right? I mean, literal pennies. What they have changed is what they call the annual MIP. Okay? Not to be confused with PMI on a conventional loan, but annual MIP is PMI on a FHA loan, right? So it's
just rearrange the initials.
Yeah, so it's a mortgage insurance premium. Okay, so what does that mean? What that means is, even though it's called annual MIP that they've changed, what that means is your monthly payment. Okay, now how do they determine what those changes are? Okay, well, it's determined by how much money you put down. And let's face it, when we're doing an FHA loan, a lot of times we're doing that because it allows us to put down less money than a 10%, a 5%, even a 5% conventional loan, or 20%. And FHA also helps because we can get higher, especially right now, how do you get in that $300,000 house as a conventional loan without putting down more money? And conventional loans, the rates are even higher. We just told you, right? On a conventional loan, the rate right now is 6.97, FHA at 6.33. That's a 0.5%. That's a big difference. So now you put in the annual MIP that they changed, and what's happened there is it's dropped from, when you put down less than 5%, that factor used to be 0.85. And I'm going to give you an example in a second. Now it's 0.55. So what does that look like on a loan, right? So on a $250,000 loan, that annual MIP, or that monthly, let's just call it your monthly PMI, on a $250,000 loan before this change at 0.85 was $212 a month, James. Okay? I'm just using the loan. I'm not worried about, we're not getting into the payment and what's the rate. That's what your factor is. Now that same $250,000 loan today is now $137 is your monthly insurance premium. James, that's $75 different, right? So the reason why this is a win, and the reason why we have sort of, as a fiduciary for you, and because your money is more important to me for it to remain in your pocket than the investor's pocket or the servicer's pocket, we're looking at that, because now that annual mortgage insurance premium that it's been lowered competes with some of that conventional loan PMI, right? And now you're getting a lower rate on an FHA loan. So, and we can go up to 55, 60% on your back end debt to income ratio. So see, now this is how we're helping folks win. This is how we're helping you not have to throw away your dreams or your love for that $300,000 house and go, I've got to save more money. And this is where it all circles back, James, and we want to make sure people understand this. It's temporary. Keep that in mind, right? So why not look at maybe that FHA loan and keep that $75? That's huge. Keep that in your pocket right now versus somebody else.
That $75, is that just the difference between the MIP and the PMI?
No, that's the difference of what it was when it was at the 85 basis points to the change now at 55 basis points.
Because I'm looking at our little mortgage rate cheat sheet over here. And right now, for a 30-year fixed rate, if you put in a $250,000 loan amount, which was the example you were using, the difference in payment is right at $100 between getting the 30-year fix at 6.97 and the 30-year FHA at 6.39, 6.4.
Yeah.
That's about a $100 difference right there.
So you look at that, but then now it's going to depend on what your down payment is, right? You're just doing loan amount on loan amount, which is fine. And that's perfect for it because we don't know, everybody's different. Again, that's why you go to snapsendandsave.com. That's why you go to mortgagegumbo.com and you fill out the paperwork and you go, hey, what can we do? I get people calling all the time. What are your rates? Folks, don't waste your time. Do not waste your time. Go call everybody else and get them to tell you what their rates are. Then call me. I'll get some questions answered from you, and then we'll look at it. Because anybody right now today that you call going, what is your rate? And they're giving you a number, they're misleading you and misguiding you. It's fool's gold. Because the rates are changing. Listen what they did, James, when we were on the show Wednesday. A 30-year conventional was 6.85. By the end of business Friday, it was 6.97. So that person that you called on Wednesday and go, what's your rate? You're not locked in. You want to go and mess around. And I get it. Do your homework. Do your research. But we're not going to misguide you by giving you a number on a piece of paper.
Well, it's also kind of the purpose of this show. If you want to know what a ballpark of what rates are, we just told you.
We just told you.
Yeah.
We just told you, right? So with that being said, that doesn't include the person that's only putting down 5%. That doesn't include the person that's putting down 3%, the first-time home buyer with a 620 credit score. So there's too many factors out there. So you got to be true and you got to be real, folks. You're buying a home, not gumballs here, right? That you're hoping you put a quarter in and that you get the blue one. at the store. You know, I remember when I used to walk out, my parents, can I have a quarter? Oh, I got the red one. I don't like the red. Tastes the same, but that's not what we're dealing with right now. So you've got to keep that in mind. So that's why it's so important to have a lender, and this is realtors as well. Your reputation is on the line now more than anybody else. And that was one of the themes that came out of what Florida Lee, with Dawn and Jeff were talking about, is right now, reputation management is as much as anything. Because if you do survive this market, if you do, the only way you're going to do it is by having people that are going to send you future business and who trust you and that you took care of them. The reason why all these lenders are falling out right now is they thought, I'll sell rate, I'll do this, and this will be easy. Well, now you got to have conversations with people, James. I refinanced a gentleman this week. He got sold. Oh, the person was telling him they were getting 5%, 5%. James, they was charging them over $16,000 in fees. So I said, man, look, I could give you 6.75, and instead of you paying $16,000 in fees, you're not going to pay me any. Take that $16,000 and go pay off that 19 and 25% credit card debt, which is the reason why you're refinancing right now. Right? You got one of the 4 Ds, and debt was one of them for this particular client. So we know any loan that we're doing is temporary. So get as much money as you can. Don't get caught up with buying a bunch of fees and different things like that. Same thing with the client I got with the divorce. It's unfortunate. Nobody wants it, right? But another lender was charging them 2.5 points on a $300,000 loan. So, folks, that's $8,000 that he's got to pay to get divorced on top of everything else he's paying? No. Pay this number, get the divorce, get everything in your name, get it done right. Then we reload later, right? Right now, we're staying tight and compact. So then we get stronger from when it counts. We got one segment left on the other side of the break. Hey, more to come. We'll answer your questions. If you got any, 504-260-0995, or shoot an email to info@mortgagegumbo.com. You're listening to Mortgage Gumbo with Dwayne Stein right here on iHeartRadio. What is up, Gumbo Nation? Check out the stream. What is happening? Thanks for hanging out. It is a beautiful day. Hope you're enjoying the show here. Get to see a little behind the scenes, what we got going on. Appreciate you hanging out. What's that, Magnum? Magnum PI?
Yes, sir.
Nice.
It's good mood music. Like if I'm gonna be in a sports car and a helicopter the same day, probably.
Yeah, I mean, the weather outside feels like Hawaii-ish.
Hawaiian.
I mean, I might have to put this on. Like, I mean, it's a Jeep day. Take my Jeep out of the garage. It sits in there all year. Today's one of those days I don't mind taking it out.
Go get it stuck somewhere, man.
Yeah. I'm going to get it. It will be stuck for the next 8 hours over at Lakeshore High School.
Oh, that's right. You got a game.
Yeah. Oh, it's stuck. All right.
I just texted you, Dwayne, a caller name.
Okay. All right. Awesome.
Name and location?
Thomas in New Orleans East.
Okay. What's he want?
Talk about a VA loan.
Okay.
Awesome. Hey, Jeremy, give me the 2-minute and 1-minute warning too, sir.
You got it.
All right.
Man, that's good stuff there. Welcome back. You're listening to Mortgage Gumbo with Dwayne Steiner right here on iHeartRadio, 504-260-0995. If you got a question, give us a shout, 504-260-0995, or shoot an email to info@mortgagegumbo.com. On the DAT-CAM line, Thomas in New Orleans East. You got a question about VA? How can we help you out, sir? And first off, thank you for your service.
Yes, this is what happened to me. My pension was denied for a long time with the VA.
Okay.
They finally gave it to me about maybe over a year or so ago. So now I'm eligible for a VA loan, which I wasn't before. But I got an attorney. He got me my VA pension. So what's next? I mean, could I get a VA loan at a reduced rate or what?
Yeah, well, the VA loans, the VA loan, yes. I mean, and if you were eligible for VA, we could have probably done the VA loan for you just because you are a veteran, not even necessarily having to worry about that pension. But yeah, Thomas, we can definitely review that for you and look at that for you. Make sure Jeremy gets your phone number and we'll give you a shout so we can discuss that. But yeah, you would qualify as a veteran. We'll look at your VA loan eligibility. That's the first thing we do to see what is your eligibility there. Meaning, hey, have you used a VA loan? Have you not? It sounds like you probably haven't because you've been in sort of the legal battle there. But we can definitely help you out with that, sir.
I own a home, but it's too big for us, with just my wife and I.
Yep.
So we want to get a smaller house.
Absolutely. Listen, a lot of folks are doing that right now. No, let's chat about that. We could help you. Look, we could help you sell that home. We could help you get into the new home. There's a lot of different options that we can look at. And I would highly recommend, no doubt, and we talk about this all the time, VA is by far the strongest program out there. And we want to make sure that we can help you take advantage of that. So I could walk you through how to work through your current situation and then how to flow that over into VA, Thomas. So I'll make sure Jeremy gets your information, and then I'll reach out to you personally, and I look forward to chatting with you. And again, sorry you had to go through that, but thank you so much for your service. I'm glad they got it right.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Question?
Yep.
If someone, like in Tom's situation, if they qualify for a VA loan, what's the likelihood that you're going to use a VA loan? 100%? Do they all? Okay.
No, it's not. It just depends, right? So the VA, a lot of times the VA, the one thing we talk about is eligibility. And then we got to look at from there's different options. It just really depends on when you want to use it and how you want to use it. 99.9% of the time, it is the right thing, right? So, it is, but then there's also other factors that have to come into play. The VA does have almost like FHA has an upfront, VA has an upfront funding fee. So the first thing we got to do is see is, hey, do we get a waiver there, right? And a lot of times those waivers come into play when that veteran has a certain percentage of disability that they get, right? So a lot of factors come in. So some people who were veterans, maybe they're buying a $400,000 or $500,000 house. Well, that VA fee, if they're not getting any kind of reduction, right? Maybe that VA fee winds up being, $10,000, $12,000. They don't want to use that. So
Right.
then we look at some different options. So it's always not just put them in that box. But I'm glad you bring that up because even for Mr. Tom there, he's a homeowner. So that means he qualified for a home without those VA, that VA pension, right? So, I just hope in the past he wasn't misled thinking, hey, he needed that to qualify, right? You don't have to necessarily be getting any income from the VA to be a veteran, right? So, or to qualify for a VA loan. So, that's a great call, Tom. And I look forward to chatting with you. I got your number and I'll definitely reach out to you.
All right. I got a scenario from the real world. A friend of mine in Madisonville.
Yep.
Well, it's more Mandeville, but whatever.
Yep.
They just moved into a new house, and it's really big, for middle class people. But they got a good deal on it because the people who owned it before, they built it in like the 70s, and then they just lived in it for 45 years and passed away in it. And so the house is in terrible condition on the inside. But that's how they got a good deal on it. It has a big fat pool. It has a big yard. It has all kinds of trees.
Needs updating. Needs to be modernized.
So is it possible to even qualify for another loan on top of that if you've just bought a house within the last year? And what do you do? Do you automatically refi that and roll it into an even bigger?
That's what we look at, right? I mean, it just depends. We got to look at their current situation. We try to see what the situation is. Look, everybody always used to jump into HELOCs. HELOC interest rates now are super high, and they're not giving you as much money on a HELOC as we may do on a fixed second rate for you, right? So we're one of the only lenders out there that are doing that. But we'll look at when they're doing this, hey, do they have any other debt? So you don't want to paint somebody with just some same brush and go, oh, yeah, we'll pay off their first mortgage, do this. Well, we're not looking to take somebody from 4% to 7% if we don't have to, but we've got to look at what that situation is as well. And keep in mind, what are we more than likely doing? If these people, your friends, call me and we do something, this isn't going to be permanent financing, right? So what is the cheapest way to get that money to fix up that house that's going to bring back all that value, right? Then when we do a refinance down the road, that house is going to be worth that much more, which means their loan to value, meaning how much they owe compared to what it's worth, is going to be a lot lower, which means they're going to qualify for a cheaper interest rate. So you know how the old saying goes, it takes money to make money? There's a lot to be said with that, especially if you're doing a home like this where you're looking to fix it up and recoup that equity. Because why, James? They're not doing a fix and flip. They're not trying to fix it up to just flip it. Right. They know they're going to be here for the next 5, 10 plus years, and they've made that decision. So let's look at what your long-term goals are so we can discuss that.
All right. Does that help, Sarah? Just throwing that out there.
There you go, Sarah. So look, James, there's a lot going on. We're talking about that. You need to have a place that you could go to get your information. And that's what we provide. It's no hard sale. It's no costs, no obligations. We just want to help you with answers. For 9+ years, we've been for 8+ years here on the show. I've been doing this for 30 years. There's usually not anything that I've seen that I haven't seen before.
30 seconds.
So let's talk about your situation. Don't hide from it. Don't let these rates put you back in the turtle shell, so to speak, because there's a lot of folks out there that are taking advantage. And they can do that simply, no cost, no obligations. Go to snapsendandsave.com or mortgagegumbo.com. James, have a great rest of your weekend. Jeremy, thank you so much for filling in, my man. And until next week, Gumbo Nation, keep stirring the pot.
Are anybody hanging around for the next
nope.
show? Or?
I am out. Appreciate you, Jeremy. Great job.
Chief.
Thanks
Have
for filling in. I'm heading over to Lakeshore Titan Baseball Network if you want to check it out. If you want to check out the stream while y'all hanging out.
Between last season and this season, Gavin looks like a grown-up now.
Thank you, man. Appreciate
like
that.
22.
Yeah, he's put on 20-something pounds of just pure mass and muscle, man. It's crazy.
Well, he's not a little boy anymore. That's pretty cool.
He's a man-child. So, all right, guys. Thank y'all.
Later.
Peace.
Later.